Hello, my name is Pete Seckler, and I'm the Director of the Community Solutions Group at GAI Consultants. I'm happy to present Chapter 3 of our Rolling Hills Community Park Master Plan Update, which is focused on the character of the site and links the qualities of Rolling Hills Park to some of the park design inspiration ideas that were shared by Rick Durr in the previous presentation. For me, an image like this really captures the spirit of the park, and it also begins to capture some of the qualities that Rick talked about in the inspirational section. What you see here is wide open expanses of lawn. You see rolling hills with terrain and dramatic elevation drops. You see large mature live oak trees with vistas that extend into the distance. You also note that the trees are tall enough that they actually scale the width of the space. This provides an excellent opportunity to slowly evolve the park from a golf course landscape into a true naturalistic park landscape. We also note, touring the park, that we see a number of places that really begin to look like composed views and friendly scenery. Certainly the oak tree in the foreground with the hanging Spanish moss and framing the lake and the focal point of the fountain, with the pastoral grass, soft lake edge, and the residential homes in the distance. This is a very idyllic view, and we want to really capitalize on this spirit and these types of views in the park, and we want to actually amplify the best qualities of the park in the areas that are maybe underplanted. We also note that most of the trees in the park were planted in about the same time period. So we have a lot of tree canopy that we need to think about carefully over time in order to maintain and enhance these views. As stewards of the park, we need to think about long-term urban forestation so that we can continue to have these types of views in Rolling Hills Park for generations to come. Contrasting the oak trees, I note that the longleaf pine stands that are frequently placed throughout the park really raise the eye to the sky. They're tall, vertical, and have a very different texture from the oak trees. It's a really beautiful counterpoint. Finally, we note the sociability of the park, the relationship of the park to the neighborhoods, the ability of people to get out, see neighbors, walk their dog. We see people jogging, riding bicycles. We see pickup soccer games, kites. We see people throwing the frisbee, people resting on beach blankets and having picnics. We really want to have a full diversity of sociability and exercise within the park. And we note that Rolling Hills Park, although it's a very large site and provides the opportunity for a complete community park experience, it's really a series of small neighborhood places that we can connect into one series of intimate opportunities for rest, relaxation, and recreation. So backing out of the previous image just a little bit, we really get the full view of Rolling Hills Park, and we get a sense of what the compositional elements are that we get to work with. We've got elevation, hills, valleys, lawns. We've got natural places, lowlands with cypress and water edge plants, but we also have uplands with stands of longleaf pine, live oak hammock. We have view sheds that are very expansive, but also places that are enclosed where you're walking through a forest or through a very intimate space. We have different types of urban forest, from oak and pine to cypress, palms, and other types of natives that we can introduce into these systems. We really have the opportunity to also work with light, and I think this is a very important idea as we begin to evolve the golf course into a more holistic park design. We think about sunsets, sunrises, where we're going to have shade and shadow at certain times of day, and where we're going to have specific views. And so that might inform where we might place the overall connective trail for the park and how we might construct spaces and particular points of view. Focal points within the park will include scenic landscapes and placement of garden architecture, small buildings, opportunities for art. And as we do all these compositional ideas, we want to think carefully about entries, edges, portals, and specifically the relationship of the park to the surrounding neighborhoods. We have places where we have homes that are clearly separated from the park by a small local street, but there are other locations where the homes simply back onto the park, or there might be a fence between the house and the park. And so that should inform where we place the trail and where we place certain activity areas. Finally, we want to make sure that we develop a park with a completely rich opportunity of sensory experiences, from textures and colors, natural materials, and opportunities for wayfinding and environmental interpretation. When we dive a little deeper into some of these materials, we can really see how dramatically different our compositional palette is. When you think about the sculptural nature of the live oak trees, the verticality of the palms, getting down and touching the water and the plant material that grows along water's edge, the rolling nature and drama of the landscape. And also, we include the image to the lower right simply to say that we observe the fact that the neighborhood comes into the park and uses it for pickup games, for parents and child to play, to find things to do together, and to just enjoy the park. So this is not about active sports or competitive play, but it is about throwing the ball and having special moments within your family and within your friends. So going back to Rick's presentation of the 2019 concept, what we have here is a series of outdoor rooms that are given a character through the identification of a name. If you look at Central Park to the right, you note that every single space has a name, and many of the key destinations are named, points of interest are named. And when you put a name to something, you really embed it with a sense of emotional experience about what that place might be. When you think of things like the Arboretum Walk, or a playscape, or the meadow, the grasslands, the valley, the ramble, the highlands, there's different thoughts that come to your mind experientially about what that place might be about and what it might feel like to be there. And we really have a rich opportunity at Rolling Hills Park to provide people with a variety of environmental experiences, to have all sorts of park views, activities, and interactions with each other. Speaking of interactions, one of the things that we note is the work of the Project for Public Spaces, which simply underscores the importance of parks that are sociable, that have a diversity of uses and activities, have access and linkages to the surrounding neighborhoods and community, and provide comfort and image and quality for everyone in the community. So what this is really about is it's about providing a diversity of opportunities for all people of all age groups and all needs and all interests. Now, we recognize that this is not an active park project in the sense that there will be no competitive sports, but certainly when we think about the full cross-section of passive recreation, picnicking, pickup games, kites, soccer, play, and a whole variety of things that might happen in this park, we want to provide settings for those opportunities to occur. That will make this a rich place. We also note the idea of the triple bottom line. This park provides the opportunity to enrich the lives of people, improve the environmental quality of the site, and ultimately improve the value and economic prosperity of not only the surrounding neighborhoods, but be meaningful to the entire community of Seminole County. So we have a phase 1 master plan that begins to locate the master trail that connects all the spaces in the concept, and also starts to form the way people will experience those spaces as you move from one location to the other across the property. And we're excited to talk about this in Chapter 4. Thank you so much, and we look forward to presenting the Phase 1 master plan and long-term vision in Chapter 4.